a.m. Good morning, educators, and welcome to our monthly webinar series. Our December series is Successful Course Planning Endorsements. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. We understand this is a really busy time of year and a short month for everyone, so thank you in advance for joining us. We know you all are very busy. Many of you are wrapping up fall semester and prepping for the spring semester, and we know that often that includes implementing a course registration plan at multiple grade levels. So we've had a lot of interest in our Academy learning modules on this topic. So we set up this webinar and plan to share some of our content and resources during the webinar today. And for all of for those of you joining, you'll receive a link to access the recording, and we'll also post all of our webinars on our website. So we're going to go ahead and get started with just some general tips and tools to keep you engaged, how to listen and work Zoom, our webinar platform, and go ahead and get started. So if you were able to register and log in, you're off to a great start. You can see and hear everything so far. This is, we'll show you a couple of the settings in Zoom. This is where you can test your audio feature to make sure you can see. Participants in the webinar format are muted, so we will have a chance at the end to check the chat box or the Q&A box and answer anyone's questions. This is also the raise your hand feature and where you can lower your hand to ask a question. We'll have some slides and some time for the panelists to answer those. And this is where you type in the question and hit send, and we will all be able to see that. And then this is how you can access and change your screen size. So I just want to quickly highlight that we have over 50 educators in Texas joining us this morning to discuss creating successful course plans and understanding endorsements. A little bit about our academy. We now have 4 content areas: career pathways, financial aid, post-secondary pathways, and now a specialty content area. So for today's topics, we'll primarily highlight resources that we've built at Texas OnCourse within the career pathways area. And while the state of Texas has guidelines for state graduation requirements, we definitely want to mention that local school districts do have local decision-making when it comes to course offerings. And so our goal today is to share our resources with you to help implement accurate and effective course plans at your campus. This may look different from district to district and school to school, but we'll also have an opportunity to hear some best practices and have time to ask for follow-up questions. Just to go ahead and share some numbers about who is using Texas OnCourse. As many of you know, when we began, over 2,500 counselors and advisors helped build our resources across the state. And when you fast forward to today, we currently have 10,126 educators using Texas OnCourse, and that includes 2,778 schools and over 900 districts. So we've seen a lot of growth, which is really fantastic. And eventually our goal is to reach 2.3 million middle school and high school students and helping them plan what's next. And just to kind of reiterate, we always mention that, you know, when educators use Texas OnCourse, they report that their confidence and their knowledge doubles. So we've got an agenda today to go over the format of our webinar. We have several people that contributed to the content this morning, and we want to take a minute to have them introduce themselves. So our content team will go over our resource spotlight and also State Board of Education updates. We have a couple of fellows from Keller ISD. We asked to talk about the course registration process. Elizabeth Reed's able to join us this morning from Timberview Middle School. And then we'll cover the webinar schedule for the rest of the school year and have time for questions and answers. I'll start with my own short introduction. My name's Laura Gugan. I'm Senior Partnerships Coordinator here at Texas OnCourse. I have a K-12 counseling and advising background, and I work closely with our school districts and how they implement our middle school resources, as well as working with our fellows and counselors using the academy resources.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jasmine Green. I am our Associate Director for Content and Resources on the Texas OnCourse team. I have a background in college access and career preparation, just helping students in K-12 plan for what's next. So, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Bell. I am the Curriculum and Instruction Manager, and I was in the classroom for 10 years teaching middle school science, and currently I'm working on the curriculum content here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Reed. I am in my first year as a counselor at Timberview Middle School and Keller ISD. And this is my 10th year as a school counselor. Prior to this year, I was at the high school level in Little Elm ISD, so I have a lot of experience with endorsement and course planning at both levels. And this is my second year of my fellowship through Texas OnCourse, where my specialization is in career clusters, endorsements, and pathways.
So good morning again, this is Jasmine. One of our goals at Texas OnCourse is to ensure that the Academy includes infographics that you as counselors and advisors can download, print, and immediately use in your advising sessions with students and their families. The two resources we would like to highlight are entitled the 5 endorsement areas and also the basic endorsement milestones. Endorsements consist of, can you go back one? Endorsements consist of a related series of courses that are grouped together by either interest or also skill set. They, as you know, provide students with in-depth knowledge of a subject area. Students earn an endorsement by completing the curriculum requirements for the endorsement, including the 4th credit in both math and science, and 2 additional elective credits. As you help students and their families prep for high school by building out their 4- and 6-year plans, our hope is that this infographic that you see here on screen can definitely aid your advising efforts. This 5 areas of endorsement infographic could help students and their families gain a better understanding of the curriculum requirements for each endorsement area. And this infographic can be found in our high school personal graduation plan module. Next slide. The next infographic we'd like to highlight from our academy is entitled Basic Endorsement Milestones. As you all know, there are a number of major milestones throughout the endorsement selection process, and students and their parents or guardians should ensure that they continue to kind of keep them on their radar. This infographic provides an overview of each of the basic endorsement milestones, starting as early as 7th grade. It is really a best practice for students in 7th grade to focus on identifying what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses. In 8th grade, they begin to explore their career interests and learn about endorsements. And in 9th grade, we all know that it's most important because students are asked to select their endorsement upon entering 9th grade. After students complete their sophomore year, as you all know, they have the option to opt out of earning an endorsement. And in 11th and 12th grade, the students are focused on taking the necessary courses to complete that endorsement and graduate. This is a great infographic to share with students and families, so please visit our Career Clusters, Pathways, and Endorsement module located under Career Pathways content area in our academy and download it today. In each of the modules in the academy, we've generated a number of resources, including infographics and handouts that you could either print out or hang in your office or even hand out to students. You can find these resources throughout our modules, but also we have the resources from the modules we're discussing today available for you to download on our Pinterest. This is a snapshot of the Pinterest boards for our high school personal graduation plan and also Career Clusters, Pathways, and Endorsements module resources. You can access these boards by visiting pinterest.com/Texas OnCourse. And now I will turn it over to Jamie Bell to share a few additional resources that can aid your student and family advising sessions. Jamie?
Yeah, hi, thank you. If you could go to the next slide. I'm going to do a quick review of Matt My Grad, and a brief explanation of using the curriculum guide. So just a quick review, this is a site where students and families and guardians can learn about high school endorsements and the requirements. Also, they can learn how selecting an endorsement can lead to a potential career path. Students are provided a short quiz at the end of which they are shown an endorsement based on their answers. The good news is they can take this in 7th, again in 8th, and see how they've changed. Maybe they'll take it again in 9th to help reevaluate, but this is all based on student choice. And here you can see a screenshot of one of the quiz questions. Up at the top, you can notice the other features of MapMyGrad, where they can research endorsements. Next. So the revised curriculum has some lessons utilizing the MapMyGrad site. Students can further engage in the quiz with guiding questions and periods of reflection on the results. These are built into lessons. This allows students to connect with their interests to the endorsements and get excited about their path. Next. So this is a sample view of a student handout from one of the lessons. Once they are intrigued by their quiz results, they can do further research specific to their goals for their life. The focus of this handout is where they want to be, what skills they have, and what they want their life to look like. Then the students research what they need to do and what's required of them on that path. Okay. The revised curriculum guide has over 30 lessons and assessment items for each unit. The lessons address the college and career readiness TEKS as well as the cross-disciplinary standards and utilize the Texas OnCourse tools and resources, MapMyGrad, Middle Galaxy, Share Your Road, and more. It will be released in January 2019. The family guide is currently on the site, and it is a great reference to provide family members and guardians with resources and guides to navigating the transition from middle school to high school. They can get this as early as 7th grade, even 6th grade if the parents are very eager. A revised version will also come out in 2019 to correspond with the revised curriculum guide, as there will be references in the curriculum guide for the course teachers. So now I'll turn it back over to Jasmine.
Thanks, Jamie. I'd like to take a minute. Courtney Wells had a question about what grade does the lesson focus on. The curriculum guide and the family guide are focused on middle school, so 6th through 8th grade, but the lessons are adaptable in that you could use them with 9th graders or early high school students as well. That one that you saw on screen was really focused on the middle school age, but for the lessons that we are aligned to MapMyGrad, you could also use those with, say, your 9th graders.
Yes.
Our MapMyGrad website can be used to personalize course planning for students and families. As Jamie mentioned, after students complete the quiz, they will receive a suggested endorsement. And after that, they're able to select their high school of interest and also their career path of interest, where the students could start to build out their high school plan. Similar to like a TurboTax experience for students, they're taken through what we call our grad planner that you see here on screen to select courses available at the high school they either attend or they plan on attending. Because the data is pulled directly from TEA, the Texas Education Agency, all grad plans created through MapMyGrad should meet the state requirements. And however, we all know that the final course selection should be made in tandem with you as the student's counselors and advisors. So this is a really great tool we encourage you to use in your upcoming course planning sessions with students and families. I know some of you go over to the middle schools and work with them on their courses and build out their 4-year plans. So maybe introducing this to the students before you even go over so that they could have a really good idea about what they're truly interested in. With MapMyGrad, students and families have the ability to just create an individualized graduation plan that can be proactively shared with you as counselors and really encourage them to have more specialized and informed conversations during their high school advising process. So I'd like to take a moment to switch gears to briefly discuss a few updates from the State Board of Education. So as you all know, the State Board of Education has made some amendments to the Foundation High School program, specifically under Section 7412. They amended that they would basically update to eliminate course sequencing for requirements in English language arts under the Foundation High School program. Under that same section, they also amended to clarify language regarding AP and IB courses that satisfy specific graduation requirements and really update those course titles to align more with the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills TEKS for career and technical education. Additionally, they've amended to add AP Computer Science A and also IB Computer Science higher level to the list of courses that may satisfy that third MAT credit. And lastly, there was a list of computer science courses that will satisfy the LOTE requirement, and those courses can be found on the next slide. So the courses you see here, AP Computer Science Principles, AP Computer Science A, IB Computer Science Standard Levels, IB Computer Science Higher Levels, they all count towards the LOTE graduation requirements. And as a reminder, you see the asterisks here, both AP Computer Science A and IB Computer Science Higher Level satisfy both the mathematics and also the LOTE credit for graduation. Additional changes to the Foundation High School program include adding criteria that allow students who successfully complete the dual language program in elementary school to satisfy one of the 2 LOTE credits that are required for high school graduation. Under Section 7413, it's really focused on endorsements, and so the board amended to update the LOTE courses that satisfy the requirement for an arts and humanities endorsement and allow certain AP and IB courses to satisfy the requirements for that 4th credit in English under the multidisciplinary studies endorsement. Lastly, under Section 7414, which focuses on performance acknowledgements, the board updated that there are a number of subject tests on that ACT Aspire exam that are required to earn a performance acknowledgement, and updated the qualifying score on the SAT to a single composite score of 1310. If you have any specific questions regarding the State Board of Education updates, endorsements, or graduation requirements in general, we encourage you to contact TEA's Curriculum Division by phone or email. TEA also has a Listserv Bulletin that you can join and gain updates and announcements. To join the Listserv, please visit their website, select Sign Up for Updates, the link that's at the top of the screen. This will ask you your subscription preference, which is available in both in form of email and also text messages. And now I'll turn it over to Elizabeth Reed to share a few campus level best practices. Elizabeth?
Thank you. Good morning again. I'm very excited to share with you guys some of the things that we're doing in Keller and ways that we're incorporating Texas OnCourse. We're very fortunate in Keller that we do have some fantastic CTE counselors that have worked really hard to develop some of these lessons. But if you are in a small district or don't have access to something like that, really the middle school curriculum guide from Texas OnCourse is set up to just run with. I do want to mention that at the beginning. iGraduate is a Keller initiative, and it is in response to House Bill 18, which stated that every 7th and 8th grade in Texas, those students do need to start getting education as far as high school readiness and career and college planning. So what we did with that is we are taking the Texas OnCourse middle school curriculum along with some other resources and have built advisory lessons. These are presented in our advisory classes by our teachers for both 7th and 8th graders. If you do not have an advisory in your district, in Little Elm, we actually used it. The curriculum does line up really well with investigating careers. It matches the TEKS for that, as well as college and career readiness, so that is another option. Or you can just use it for guidance lessons. So what we did, you can see here, these are our 7 modules that we have broken up the lessons into. We start in October. We have 1 to 2 lessons a week leading up to the creation of a 4-year plan at the end that they do with their counselors. Like I said, it incorporates the middle school curriculum. And we also use the family guide to send emails home weekly so parents are aware not only of what their students are doing in their advisory classes, but it also extends the learning and helps parents ideas of what they can do at home, and they learn the language as well. So it's really important to start early so they get this language over a spread out amount of time, and it's not something that they just get right before they're signing up for their high school classes. They already know what an endorsement is and what pathways are. So in 7th grade, our advisory lessons are a little bit more of an introductory lesson, a broader overview. In 8th grade, they do get more in depth, and these are the different units that we cover, the different modules. What is college and career ready? That is just an introduction of what we're going over with them, and we do use some of the Texas On-Course videos that feature students to introduce that to them, which we all know that it's more relatable for students when they can see someone their own age speaking about it. Building human capital reviews soft skills and professionalism, things that they would need to have in any job, even starting early. And then they start to research some careers through exploring the Occupational Outlook Handbook. Exploring career clusters goes more into self-assessments that are available in the curriculum guide. And then it ties those to different career options that they might want to consider. Understanding endorsements helps them to match career clusters and pathways to the endorsements and learn how that all works. They do this through resources from Texas On-Course. They explore the Workforce Commission's endorsement bulletins and can use Achieve Texas magazines for all of that. The Distinguished Level of Achievement module just really goes over the benefits of graduating with the Distinguished Plan. And then we go into Keller specific with understanding KISD pathways and choosing your endorsement. And that one we have student made videos of each of the pathways again, so they can relate to those students and kind of see what they might be interested in. And then at the end, which is actually this week, we are going into the classrooms to help them create their 4-year plan. I do just want to mention, we don't currently have a formal lesson for using Middle Galaxy or MapMyGrad, but we do encourage teachers and counselors to use it as a supplement to help them solidify what they're learning. And we are planning to incorporate some of that next year into the lessons. So when it comes to endorsement selection, there are other things that we do besides the lessons to help the students make these decisions. At the very beginning of the year, we take our 8th graders to e-building to see what different pathways are available to them and see the students in action and meet the teachers and learn a little bit more about that. And then at the end of the lessons, which actually was just this last Saturday, we offer a CT Expo where they can bring their parents with them and show them the different programs that they explored earlier on in the year. And then we follow that up with a high school showcase. Depending upon which high school they're going to, they go visit and see, they get a presentation, and then they can visit with the different teachers and organizations that are offered at each of those schools. Once they've done all of that exploration and seen all the different areas, then they get to choose their endorsement and their pathway. We actually were just in the classrooms this morning doing this, where they go to a Google form and enter all their information and tell us which endorsement and which pathway they are interested in. From that, when they fill out that form, that gives us that information, so we are ready to go in and create that 4-year plan with them. Because they've been receiving this information over the course of a few months, they're very familiar with what endorsements are, what pathways are, and so it's very helpful for us when we go in to help them pick their classes. Based upon what they put into that Google form, we then have of study forms that are already pre-filled based upon which pathway they have chosen. So we actually offer all 5 endorsements, and we have 61 pathways for them to choose from. So for each of those pathways, we have a customized form that has the sequence of courses that they need to complete in order to earn that endorsement. Based upon what we get from the Google Forms, we will bring those filled out forms to their classrooms and help them pick which level of classes that they want, whether it's on-level, pre-AP, AP, dual credit. And then we also help them to fill out any of the blanks with other electives and other requirements that they need for graduation. So the middle school counselors were doing that this week. and helping them to fill that out. And then after we get back from break, the high school counselors will come down and review those with the students in January. They also are going to pick a day. The high school counselors will be here to help parents and answer any of their questions. And I think what is most important to me that I really appreciate about Keller is that it's a collaboration between the high school counselors and the middle school counselors. It's not that one or the other owns the process. We work really closely together and everyone is informed about what is required for high school requirements, so we can really help support the students the best in that manner. Once we get that information, it is entered into our student data system. Right now, it is eSchools is what we're using. We are actually in the process of adopting EduThings, and I don't know if anybody is familiar with that program, but it's a Texas-specific program that helps to track four-year plans that we're very excited about starting to use. And then finally, with maintaining the four-year plan, once they get up to the high school, every year, the students and the parents are informed about the different options as far as classes go. One of those is in-person meetings with dual credit on-ramps and advanced placement and going over that information. There also is a Facebook Live that Keller does. We're going to be doing that in January just to talk a little bit about course registration, what that looks like, and answer any questions that they might have, which we find the Facebook Live is really convenient for people that can't get to the high school or to get to one of the schools for those meetings. We get a pretty high participation with those. And then the high school counselors will conference with each student individually and review their transcript and see if there's any changes that need to be made or if there's any changes the student wants to make. And obviously if there are, then the family can come in and conference about what those changes need to be. And also throughout high school, there are opportunities for the students to visit with the UNT Go Center that comes and will help the students make sure that to figure out what requirements they need to be getting or need to be meeting based upon what college or career they're looking at. Those are some of our best practices that we use in Keller. Marissa couldn't be here today because she had another commitment, but either one of us are very happy to answer any questions you might have or help out wherever we can. She is the high school counselor and I'm at the middle school. This is our information if you want to reach out to either one of us if something comes up after today.
That's great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I just want to highlight a couple of things that I heard you mention because we get a lot of questions and comments about middle school to high school transition, which is why we have this information in our learning modules. There's some really great best practices that you mentioned that have come a long way with technology. For example, using the Google form and using Facebook Live, and then having those individual conferences just seem to be key with students to help them with the transition. So let me go ahead and take a minute and see, we have a couple of questions on the chat. Okay, I will go back to those in 1 second. Iris has a hand up. So Iris, do you want to go ahead and let us know what your question is?
I think I can see it on the chat. The program that we're using, I'm sorry, that's Leah. The program that we're going to use for next year is called EduThings. We're getting started and trained on that.
Perfect, thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so with all that information, I know we highlighted Matt My Grad and Jamie and Jasmine talked about our middle school curriculum guide. We definitely wanted to just mention again the career exploration piece that we have a lot of students using right now, as well as educators. Supplements the curriculum guide, and we have lessons within using Middle Galaxy, which is of course the play-based learning where you can do in a computer lab or students can use on a tablet or a smartphone. Students can also, and parents use it directly for career exploration. And within that middle school curriculum guide is a how to play direction, which helps you understand how to both play the game and understand the rules and how to get through the game and as well as teach it. So this is an example of what the middle school, the Middle Galaxy game board looks like. And you can see the career cadets down here show different career profiles, and they are they're used within each mission. So students will get to identify what skills are needed for the careers to contribute to the missions at hand. And then another example is how the student gets started. They end up a captain of their ship, and they can pick an avatar, and then they get started on playing through their missions. And so they will end up doing career exploration as they play. So we have teachers and educators at the middle school level that can assign time in order, like as a homework assignment, or as a lesson, or as a group within classes or advisory in middle school, and really any grade level. Okay, so we just wanted to go ahead and review the webinar schedule for the rest of the school year. It's hard to believe we're almost in 2019 already. We have some fellows and some experts in each of these webinars that will talk about the topic. The January webinar is going to focus on scholarships and financial aid. That's a big topic. We started talking about financial aid in November, and we want to talk a little bit about scholarships and things like that in the month of January. So you can see here the rest of the topics that go all the way through June for the rest of the school year. Okay, I will go ahead and open it up for questions. We ended a little bit early, which is fine. We'll make sure we can see any questions that anyone raises, and I'll let the panelists go ahead and answer any that they see that relates to them.
Hi, Christy. I noticed your question about the time that we devote to each of the advisory lessons. Our advisories are 45 minutes long, but the curriculum guide is really set up as plug-and-play lessons. I don't know, I think they can vary depending upon what resources you want to pull from them. So currently we do, like I said, our advisory lessons are 45 minutes, and we have 1 to 2 a week that we use for a couple of months to get them set up for the 4-year plans. But from what I've seen from the curriculum guide, it's very flexible, and there's also the parent guide where you can extend that by having them take things home to do with their parents. I don't know if Jasmine, if you want to follow up with anything on that.
No, I think what you said is accurate in that you can definitely adjust it as you see fit. So if you have say a 30-minute class period, there's shorter lessons that you could definitely implement within that shorter time frame. Or if it's a longer session like the 45-minute session, we have those lessons available. Our revised curriculum will be really tailored to different types of classroom settings. So if it's advisory or if you're doing it in group setting, we will have those lessons available that you can use for any of those settings.
Perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and stay on and for another few minutes, I'd say 5 minutes or so, and see if there's any questions that popped up, and then we'll close our webinar. So I'm going to jump in. I see Courtney's question, where do I locate the resource materials? So everything can be found from our website, texasoncourse.org, and that will also connect you to Middle Galaxy, MapMyGrad, as well as all of the guides that we mentioned, the middle school curriculum guide and the family guide. And then obviously you know that you can access the Academy learning modules through the login at Texas on Course.
I would be happy to help you with any of that. I don't know if you were able to copy down my contact information on that slide, but feel free to shoot me an email, elizabeth.reed@kellerisd.net, and I'm happy to work with anybody on helping them to get some of that stuff set up.
Sure, and I'm going to go ahead and put that back up for you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
No, you can't. So for every single thing that you report, for every single grader that
I'll get there eventually. Give me 1 second. Here we go. And then also, of course, all of the Texas OnCourse staff, you can find all of our contact information under the About Us tab on the website. Perfect. So I see some attendees signing out. We will go ahead and send this link out for the recording, and you can access the slides later on. If there are no more questions, I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you so much for joining us on this topic. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Jamie, Jasmine, and Elizabeth. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Oh no, I made it.